hold. If I do that, then that's even less in frame, which is pretty cool. So, I do believe we're good. So, this is where I tweet out that I am live. And let's see, I've got panel wash, thinners, cement, nippers, and scalpel that I really need to replace soon. We've got the three. I've smashed my desk just now. We're good to go. There we are. Right. So I believe that's not working on my laptop. Hopefully my laptop figures out that it doesn't have to go full fan speed. I can hope, because it's going to be very loud otherwise. Right. Right, I think we're good to go. Hello there, Rix, and yeah. So which one shall we start with? We've got the Barigator, the Cycodus. I think I'll do the Cycodus last, and the Venomous Viper, or Stealth Viper in America. The reason I'm going to do this one last, though, yes, my laptop is very much going to warp factor 10. The reason I'm going to do the Cycodus last is this one actually works. Unfortunately, these wind-up motors are not very good. What happens with this one is there's something in here that isn't catching anymore. And SabreMc is saying Gator, so we're going to put this lot all up here. We've got 3 of these today because they are very small, and frankly I want this, excuse me, peace, I want this to last more than 10 minutes. Yeah, unfortunately neither the Barigator nor the Viper's motors work. I think the bit of plastic that holds the end of the spring has actually come off of the shank. So when you spin it, nothing bites. So there's no grip in there. I have a second one of these motors though for the Stealth Viper that I have started taking apart. I'm trying to figure out how I can fix it if I can. So I'm just going to put those over there on their manuals. Enjoy my sleeve. Sleeve is a friend. And I have something else. This little guy, the Canon Taurus. This is another one of those wind-up ones that does still work, but probably shouldn't. Same kind of motor with this little thing. You used to get this kind of thing, this kind of wind-up motor in McDonald's toys over here. I don't know if you still do in America, but come on, mate. Come on, you can do it. Okay, it doesn't want to walk, but you'll see his head pops out and then gravity falls back in. I'm not game to wind him very much because, yeah, I like the Canon Taurus. This is the first one of these I did any sort of painting on. It's not really great. I might post the video for that at some point, I might not. Because what I might even do one day is take him apart, give him a good scrub down with a toothbrush, and then redo it all. Some bits turned out alright. Most you can't even tell it was painted, and that's just because I painted it onto dust rather than onto plastic. And yes, with a jaw like this, it would absolutely hurt if the Barigator bit you. There's a lot of teeth and they're very big. This will be my first time building one of these. So, I have the manual. Apparently, most of the stickers. Let's put that off to the side. Where is first instruction? So I'm going to be a little bit cheeky, and I'm actually going to arrange these pieces. So we have the A-frame. I believe that's the one. Yep, there's our A-frame. Our B-frame is going to be a lot of these pieces. That clip-looking thing. These weapons. Oh wow, 30 years. I remember those in the late 90s over here. Or it might have been Hungry Jack's that had them. That's also part of our B-frame. There's one more. Where is that little guy? There, I think that might be the one. Yes, that's the one. So there's our B-frame. Let's gather our C-frame. So that's going to be this color again. Where do you come from? Right, that's C-frame. So is that. So this is going to be our tail, and it looks like leg armor. So there's our C-frame. And the rest of this must be the D-frame. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Samurai. I got back into these because I found the shield liger that I built on Christmas Day when moving, and just I decided, you know what, I'm going to start doing these. So I gathered up all of my old model kits, and I had to disassemble them to move house. So here we are. I missed it, so I'm reliving it and now sharing it a bit. Hi Busker, hi Bucker. I am making the Barigator first. I've got the Barigator, the Stealth Viper, and the Cycurtus. For now, we're doing this fella. When I find the first instruction. Canon Taurus can hold that up so I can see it. And then we are golden. As I said, unfortunately, these motors are a little bit awful, so it doesn't actually work anymore. The Cycurtus, though, does. So, looks like we need these three. And let's see if this is going to cooperate. We can do a bit of detailing. As always, perfection isn't the goal. Just making it pop a little bit. Come on, you. There we go. Doesn't really want to wick along this. There's probably some physics reason for that. Oh, there we go, we've got a little bit of it. Let me just go down in that gap. And let's get all these as well. Now it's kind of wicking around. Kind of. Come on, you. Yeah, as a kid I was always so disappointed that the plastic models didn't look the same as they do on the box. Never once did it occur to me as a kid to put some kind of paint on and then just wipe it off so it only gets in the gaps. So now I have a chance to fix that. In hindsight, it seems really, really obvious. Let's do that. And then put way too much on. But I can sop that up a bit and it still makes it pop. There we go. Something I should have done before I painted. I just need to get rid of some update alerts. Yeah, one of these days I'm probably actually going to go back and get paints and properly detail some of these kits. But yeah, I don't know if I feel quite so inclined to do proper painting detail right now. I kind of want to practice on things like the Stealth Viper and Shield Ligers, because I've got a lot of them. Even though perfection isn't the name of the game, I do think that I'd like to have some practice before I get into really detailing these. So there's our first one. Actually no, I will trim this. For once, these bits of flashing are not, these bits of sprue, sorry, are not my fault. Because I got this one off of Gumtree. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that it didn't occur to detail them, because, yeah, I hope that's not actually critical. Is that critical? Is that bump supposed to be there? Let's have a look. I don't think that bump is supposed to be there. No, that bump isn't supposed to be there, I don't think. I think that really is just a big hunk of sprue. Let's have a look. Yeah, that is, I'm pretty sure, a big hunk of sprue. So let's work that off. Actually, do we have an underside? No, this is his underside, right. Come on, you. Whoa. But we didn't fling it, so that's good. But yeah, apparently in military modeling, there's this thing called panel washing that I had never heard of as a kid, where some people will just take a cloth, dip it, cover it in dye, and then just wipe it across, or just basically paint a wing and then wipe the surface so that you only get paint in the lines. It's a pretty cool technique that, whoa, this one's doing what I wanted it to do. And the great thing about this is it's very, very thin paint, so it just kind of naturally wicks through. And then when you wipe it off, you still get it in all those little crevices. It makes the detailing process pretty quick. At least for the very basic detail. For things like, if you wanted to make each of these ridges shiny but didn't want the rest of it shiny, it's a bit longer. Oh, excuse me. So my laptop is trying to achieve liftoff, and I'm sorry for the noise it's making. The fan just likes to run even though I've got it set up to not run too terribly hard. So let's see, which way around does that go? Got the big pegs there. Can only really go around one way. That goes in. Excuse me, motor. You go in like that. And then clip together. And yeah, there's going to be smudging because I'm working with these pretty much as soon as I paint them, but I just call that weathering, because these are huge mechs that, like, 72 times this size. These are huge mechs that would be in battle or even just wandering the wastelands. They're not going to be... What is going on in there? They're not going to be particularly clean and shiny once they come off the show floor. There we go, we had a bit of plastic stuck in there. So step 2, what's step 2? B3, that one's B5. That one's B3. And thank you, Rex. I'm very glad it's relaxing. That's, especially right now, that's basically what I want to go for. Just hanging out and reliving a bit of childhood together. Because, hey, I consider myself very fortunate to still have access to all of these old kits. And if I'm rebuilding them, I'd like to share them. Now, we don't have to detail that piece at all. And we've got C4. Oh, we got it first go. Let's nip off that little bit. As a kid, I used to just twist these out of the frames, and it was terrible for them. This person that I bought this from, I think, might have even just yanked them out, which isn't very good for the plastic. There's some here. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up, but there's that sort of white stressed look just there. Or even on this grey piece. You can see how where that little peg used to be, it's a bit stressed. That's what I'm trying to clean up as well when I do this. Let's see. It won't pop super well on this fella because he's a dark colour. And I'm using black paint. I think I need to get my iPad working and use it for stream chat in future though, because the whining sound, this might be relaxing, the whining sound in the background is very not relaxing. Just do that. Add a little bit more. I'm trying not to let this release huge globules, like if I were detailing a large area, because then it will just flood them. Just gentle little dabs with the tip of the brush. And let it make its own way around. And then once I finish this one, I will try to remember to pick up the other piece that matches this, just to show a little comparison. Okay, so we've got this one. Come under the light. Then we've got this one. They mirror each other, but this one just pops so much more. I'm glad you're not noticing it, Rex, but it's probably going to drive me bat bonkers over the period of this stream. I know it's audible in the videos, in the VODs. I might have to run a low-pass filter over it just to get rid of it, just to make the fan go away. So that goes on. It can only really go on one way. You kindly stay on that little peg. I think that's in properly. There we go. Glad you could make it, and thank you for coming in. So you sleep well, Bucker. I hope I'm reading your name correctly. I hope it's not like Busker or pronounced differently, but I'm reading from a little distance away. Rex, I'm an adult building model kits from my childhood. We're all weird here. Embrace the weird. Wow, it's windy outside. Everyone's a little bit weird. You know what? That can be a good thing. I'm going to quickly... Oh, some of us are definitely a lot weird. I, for one, very, very weird. I'm going to very quickly have a very short glance at something. Okay, we're all good. Yeah, Samurai, some of us, like myself, are a lot weird. And, once again, I think that's a good thing. Whoa. And that is wicking around the whole thing. Cool. Let's see if we can pull that off with this vent looking bit. Oh, nice. Let me dab that off. Let's keep that on the cardboard so I don't make a mess of this table. This is already so much nicer to do than last time as well, because now I have a cushion on my stool. Cheap foam off of eBay, some nice purple corduroy, and about 20 minutes of cutting and stapling. Did I do that corner? Yes, I did. About 20 minutes of cutting and stapling. And now I have a nicely upholstered IKEA stool. You shouldn't leave your stool naked. You shouldn't leave your chair naked if you're going to be sitting on it for a while. Put just any foam on it at the very least if it's uncomfortable, or if you're going to be sitting for a couple of hours. Because your butt will thank you. There should still be a picture of it on my Twitter. That's the same name as on here. SabreMc. And for my first and possibly only upholstery project ever, pretty pleased with it. Excuse me. Oh. Yeah. Bit of company on, what is in America, Friday night? Saturday afternoon for Australians. Because in this time, we all need a bit of company. Bit of company and a break from the crazy shenanigans. Yes, broadcasting from anywhere up to at least 16 hours in the future, depending on where you're watching this from. By the time it makes it to YouTube, it might even be the present. Let's see, we've got that. And we've got... Excuse me. Would you please get on there? Thank you so much. We're going to leave that upside down in the hopes that it stays. So we've done the steps, we've done step 3. Step 4, we take this honkin' great piece, and we're going to close all that up so it doesn't fall apart anymore. What I'm also going to do is clean up the top of this because it's getting a globby layer. There we go. We're going to trim first. Oh, this one was treated rough. This one was treated very rough. You can see that just there, it's really, really faded. Over here. It's really, really faded there. So this was probably pulled out of its frame. It's a bit unfortunate, but when we go back and paint these later, which I probably will do, that'll be cleaned up. But for now, because we might not paint this one. I don't know what I'm going to paint and what I'm not. I do know is that this is going to look a lot cooler once it's finished than it did before we started. Even if he doesn't walk. There we go. Anyone wondering how I clean these from years and years of storage dust? Just a bit of detergent and a soft toothbrush and hot water. And then leave them to dry overnight. And then they are clean and dust free. said, many of these are likely not meant to be disassembled, and the ones with electronics you probably don't want to put in water, so just clean very carefully with maybe a toothbrush that you've dipped in hot water and soap, as opposed to just soaking the pieces. Ideally, if you can keep them from getting too terribly dusty, that's probably what you really want to aim for. Let's say we do that. Let's catch that, because that's more than I want those to have. To anyone who isn't talking in the chat as well, but is watching this, hello to all of you, and thank you so much for coming in so far. We've been at this for half an hour, and we're barely making a dent. Because while these small kits are not very complicated to build, some of them do have absolutely fantastic detailing. Let's just grab a piece from the Viper for a second. Look at all that detail. There's a lot going on there, even though the stream looks like it's compressing this to absolute oblivion. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of little details we can add. Oops. Don't think there's anything we want to add down the side there, so which way does this go? Okay, so that's the front. There we go. If he worked, this is where we could test it. No, Rex, it won't be an all-night stream. Just maybe a little bit longer than I actually thought it would be. Because if these take about 1 hour each, then I might only do the 2. So, we put this that way up. We go to our D. Oh, excuse me. We need D8. That one's D10. D13. Oh, whoops. The feet come off. These are D8, okay. Let's take the feet off and clean up all of these at once. These are all the same part. There we are, that's one. So, I had a bit of an interesting adventure with online shopping recently, and shipping is getting harder and harder from overseas now. So I bought a very big, very fancy Zoid from Japan through a website that actually deals with foreign buyers, where most just don't, I suppose. But the day after my parcel was shipped, that has kept the little cloth ring. No, you stay in the lid, please. I'd really, really appreciate it if you'd stay in the lid. Thank you. But, yes, so my parcel shipped out on the 8th of April. And then on the 9th of April, Express Mail Service in Japan shut down all postage to Australia, conducted by themselves. So, on the 10th, my parcel was shipped back to the next district over. I don't want to say the name of the shop right now because I want to only say their name when I get to the good bit, where they have been actually very helpful. But, so I emailed them, and I suspect something got lost in translation, because the tracking shows that my parcel has been returned to sender. So I sent them an email asking, hey, I understand why this is happening. I get it. I completely get it. So if this comes back, can I get an estimate on how much it would be to add these to the same box and ship them? So in terms of shipping, would this increase the shipping cost? And I feel like that was lost a little bit in translation, because English wouldn't be their first language. And well, English is hard. English is hard, English nuance is harder. So, I get back that they cannot add to an order once shipped. Which makes absolute sense, they don't have the box anymore. But when it arrives back at them, then their standard policy would be basically to change the shipping method given the current situation and charge more. In this case it would be DHL Express, which with this order would cost a lot. Like we're talking 1/3 the price, 1/3 the total cost would be just shipping, and that's almost $200 in shipping. 200 Australian dollars, that is. American dollars, it's about 120. Because it's a big fella. So I replied to them asking for clarification that, does this also apply if the package is returned to you by the postage service? I cannot thank them enough for this, but I got a reply back actually just before starting this stream that they cannot add to the order, but if the package actually does return to them, then they can offer me a refund and I can redo the order with the new items added in, so I can save a bit of money on shipping. The website, this is not Mandarake's standard policy, I don't think. Please do be nice to them. They are a wonderful site with wonderful people working for them. They have been extremely helpful, and they are just as much trying to figure out the situation as we are. Because things are intense in Japan. A lot of services are shutting down. and they don't have... Mandrake don't have control over the situation. They can just control how they respond to it, and they've been extremely generous to me. As a standard thing, they don't even cancel orders, because they're a second-hand shop. And in the background, while I talk about spending a lot of dollary-doos, we have my housemates. Yes, once again, I completely failed to introduce myself. I think everyone in stream knows me, but yes, I'm Saber. I do model kits. I do voice stuff, and I do model kits. I also do some leather work. I'm learning how to make a very nice wallet when I get my order of stitching things in, so I can stitch the wallet. So we've done all of the feet. That was a sound. That was most definitely a sound. I don't know if you realise, but I'm fucking loaded, mate. Well, there goes the family friendly. So we need D9. Well, you were out there being dead. I got that game of bread. That's probably D9. Looks like D9. Let's trim that bit off, make it look a bit nicer. Yeah, I think I might do these every second and fourth Saturday. For bigger builds that take more than one day, I might do this every week, but only during those builds. So I'm going to do this on Saturday for big builds. I'm going to extend it to the next day and do a second stream on Sunday. Trying to limit myself to 2 hours per stream, because after 2 hours my neck gets a little bit That's not something we want. Because I want this to be fun for me, and I also want it to be fun for you. And if it's fun for me, then it's more likely to be fun for you. Maybe by next time I'll have a new little craft scalpel, because that one is not in the best state. So, excuse me, let's detail this. If this takes more than an hour, then we really will just do this fella, I think. So this might only be a Barigator stream. Which, I'm fine with that. Do I have plans for Easter? This is my plans for Easter. Because right now, it's not really a great time for people to be going outside, so just being a bit of company to people over another holiday. When you can't go outside, then just find something, have a bit of fun. Do something, take up that hobby that you've wanted to. As for me, my plans are maybe make some calamari rings and chips. And this. maybe have a chocolate bunny. How about you guys? What are your plans for Easter? Also keeping in mind that my... oh, excuse me. Keeping in mind as well that my family are over 1,000 kilometers away from me right now. And the state borders are closed. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Yes, my family are over 1,000 kilometers away. Yes, shelter in place, that is a good plan for Easter, I think. Shelter in place or physical distancing. I way prefer physical distancing to social distancing as a phrasing. Because, look at us, we're being more social than ever right now. Our social distance has decreased, but our physical distance has increased. Ooh. So Pixel Cat is sheltering in place, as am I. Rix, you are having holiday dinner with ham, 3-bean casserole, and potato salad. Nice. Sounds tasty. Let's see, that one can go on after the armor. And C11, I think I had that one just before, actually. C11. This looks like it has to go on after the peg, so... Oh, no, it can go on before. Cool, so we can... Does this need much of a cleanup? No, I think I cleaned this one up before. Cool. It really does sound nice. Whoop, bit of unintended detail. I'm not even going to see half of this. You know what? That's okay. Whoops. Yes, no mistakes, just unintended details. There's going to be a lot of unintended details, like the unintended detailing of my fingerprint just now.
I kind of want to take a picture for here. Hold on.
Yeah. This table was so worth it as well. I couldn't do this in the kitchen. I could not do this in the kitchen.
Yes.
That is all going exactly where I don't want it to go. But it's okay, we can manage this. I will talk to the paints manager very nicely. And we'll have this situation resolved lickety-split. There we go. Much better. Yes, if you must go out, be nice to people. If you've been wanting to get into some kind of making, do it now. Make yourself a mask. When a sheet of leather comes in, I'm looking at making this really nice leather mask design that I saw on Skilltree, which, not someone I know personally, but someone that I found while looking for leather cuirass designs, that is, leather chest armor sort of stuff. And he's got some really cool stuff. Check him out. See if that goes on there. Then we take these. We cap it the right way round. Oh, no, that's just a very, very loose cap. That's a bit better. These have been on there for years before I took them off, so they're going to be stretched to different sizes. Now it kind of stands on one side. Then we do the other side. No, we don't. First we do his leg armor, because I've got that sitting right in front of me and I should probably actually put that on his legs. Or her legs. I don't know if Zoids are treated like ships and cars in a way where people generally personify them as female. Either's possible. Either would be pretty cool. Yes, there's a couple of other things I'm going to be exploring now, because I've picked up a Japanese blade lagger recently, which is such a nice red compared to the Hasbro blade lagger, which toward the end of this, or just when I finish this step, I'm going to retrieve oh god. Okay, which one does this go on? The smaller armor goes on the front. There we go. When I finish this step, I'm going to fetch a piece of armor from the Hasbro blade lagger and the Tomy blade lagger and just show you the difference. But before I got sidetracked by that idea, the Japanese one has metal claws, which are just die cast. So I open the box and I have a look in the packet for mine. I want to see what kind of metal they feel like and how nice the claws look. So I take them out. They are cracked to Belia. Some of them are cracked almost all the way through at points. Some of them are basically ready to fall apart. Which, that could be a problem. So, my idea, So we're going to learn metal casting sometime. I won't be streaming metal casting, but I will video it, and I will share it with you guys. And if enough people have blade laggers with cracked up claws, I might even make the pieces available as metal in just like batch order kind of things. We'll see. Yes, now we're getting somewhere. Give me just 1 second. So here we have the Hasbro Blade Lagger piece. This is off a spare that I think this is off one of my spares anyway. I've got a few spare pieces from just boxes around the place. And here is a side-by-side of the two colours. This one's almost an orange, this one's a kind of cherry red. I way prefer this colour to this one. This one looks a bit cheap. But anyway. So we take this one. And we take this one. Yes, Optimus Prime red. The deep, rich cherry red as opposed to kind of orangey. I will eventually get used to this table and how not to kick it. See, it is 1600. Welcome, new person. Say hi. But it is 1600. I don't think we're actually going to be doing all three of these. I think we might just be doing the Barigator today. Which, if you guys are fine with that, I'm fine with that. We really don't need that piece to be coloured. There we go. Yes, I see you in the view counter, so welcome. I am Saber, and what we're doing here is just reliving a little bit of my childhood. Yeah, hanging out and just building a model kit of a Zoid. In particular, the Barigator. I didn't own this kit as a child, but that's beside the point. I love building these kits. It's just plain fun. I love seeing them pretty much transform from a pile of scrap bits to something you could play with, or something you can make yours with all kinds of detail and customization. One of the lines was even called Build and Customize, or Build, Customize, Mobilize. These really cool ads of just hordes of them walking. Yes, Barigator. Oh dear. Let's not do that yet. Let's find a cap that won't fit back here. There we go, that's one off the front. Because I don't want to stretch out the wrong caps at this point. Yes, I would be about some number of hours, so that would make it midnight in Florida, I believe. Wait, no. You sure? So, okay, time zones are weird. I could have sworn I was less than 16 hours ahead of the East Coast. And time zones are weird and confusing. Oh, okay, so... Yes, I am 14 hours ahead of you, Rex. Hi there, Tex, and... Okay, yeah, so I am 14 hours ahead of you, Rix, 15 hours ahead of you, Tex, and Pixel, I'm probably like 16 ahead of you. I don't actually know what to call you based on your name on here, so if you have a preference for name... Okay, so you and Tex are in the same time zone. Yeah, if you have a preference for name... Okay, Ace, that works, yes. Because I keep thinking of you under your Telegram display name. I will go with Ace. Because we are a family-friendly stream, and... Whoa. Okay. Some of my weirdness doesn't need to be broadcast. Tiger works then. I'll go with either Ace or Tiger, whichever occurs to me at the moment I'm saying it. Well, I think we just detailed this whole leg in one brush stroke. Whoops. Go me. And we put that in the foot. And now he can steppy. When I put this on. Now he can steppy. There we go. Then we do the leg armor. And my laptop is still absolutely screaming. I'm definitely going to run a filter over that in post, just so when I upload this to YouTube, there isn't a constant yee over everything I'm saying. Maybe I should commission the Barigator though as a Barigator, just for the fun of it. become known amongst the furries as the guy who commissions the Zoid pictures with weird puns that are absolutely great. It makes people very upset that now they're being paid to draw mechs instead of fox people. Because, let's be real, mechs are hard to draw. As my laptop is just forever... It is so windy outside as well. So if you hear other noise, aside from my laptop or housemates talking, then it's probably the sound of the wind blowing things over outside. But it's Australia, that kind of thing just happens. Like, early on, when I was living down here, I think it was after the fires, or it might have been during the fires. There was a portaloo, or porta potty. A couple of... close enough that we could see it, but on the other side of the block. There's still a lot of housing going up here. So, this portaloo was blown through a fence. Through one of the construction fences, the temporary things that go in. I think there's a photo of it, and it's just, to me it's so funny, because no one was hurt. But, yeah. The whole thing just went away from everything. So we need this. Is this D8? No, that's D26. That's another tail piece. Hang on. Oh, okay. I didn't fully disassemble it. That's actually a separate piece. Let's see if we can ease that off of here. So we can clean it up. There we go. So the pilot seat is separate, okay. Right, so we need that. That. And that. So, let's get this fella cleaned up first, because this bit needs to be very flat. This fella needs to be so flat, in fact, that we're going to take a sanding stick. This comes from a cheap shop from the beauty section, because that's all you need. You don't need to go out and spend a fortune on sanding sticks. Just go to your local shop. Get the cheap ones. They'll do the job. And you get a lot of them. There we go. Now we can breathe a little bit of life into this. There we go. And we can do the same to this fella. I had no idea until today that the pilot seat was actually separate from the rest of the jaw. And the laptop whining is getting to be a bit much, so we're only going to do the Barigator today. And I'm going to sort out my iPad for stream chat in future. My iPad probably isn't that much good for much else. But it's silent, and that's the main thing. It's silent, and it lets me talk to you guys. This is where this is really going to look good. There we are, so that goes into there with much less protest, I imagine, than before. This I'm going to use nippers to trim and sandpaper, I think, because I don't want to put too much pressure on this. It's a very flimsy piece. It looks like we've got more people, so welcome to all of you. I apologise for the screeching sound of my laptop in the background, but I thank you for coming along. Hope you stick around, hope you say hi. I am building a model kit, basically. Not one that I grew up with for once, but one that I do quite like the look of. Okay, so that will slide on there like that. Cool. His jaw will open and shut. And that's how you'd probably actually get in and out of this fella. Let's put a huge globule on there, see what happens. That's good enough for a huge globule, and try it again. Okay, we're really just cheating, but just trying things. Trying different things, see what works. And that didn't. This must have been... This is definitely the later release of the Barigator. Some of the tooling is showing a bit of wear. There are tooling marks on the kit, A lot of these were probably discontinued just because it wasn't economical to replace the tooling with some of these smaller, older ones. You can see the same kind of thing with things like the shield lagger, where the fit just isn't as good on the later ones. On the earlier ones, it's really good. If you're collecting, you're probably just going for the original and new Japanese release and the Tomy ones separately anyway, so don't stress about when they seem to have come from, because at their core they are the same kit if they were released by the same branch in the same place. It's just a matter of, is the tooling a little bit better or a little bit worse? I also have a slightly weird fascination with things like the manufacturing process of plastic, and specifically of plastic toys like this. Rar. He snap. Anyone who has studied German has probably heard this song. Schnee, schna, schnappi, 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 schnapp. Schnee, schna, schnappi, das kleines Krokodil. Rar. The instructions say put him in like that. We're not going to do that. Because that's a hassle. I'm going to do it the way that I would get into a large alligator type Zoid. Or crocodile type Zoid. And that is through the mouth. Because his legs sit a bit funny. And then he goes nom. But then you can pop the canopy and see him. Or under light, you can see him. Which is pretty cool. There's not much left of him. I mean, if I put him just off camera, then you could believe that he's probably done. We got a half wind out of him. Yeah, when he would walk, his head would sway like that. Which was pretty cool. I got to see it once before it ended up getting overwhelmed just by me winding it like twice, which was unfortunate. Let's see, 21 and 22. I'm not going to get the sanding stick in there, so we do that. And that piece is pretty good. Hang on, we might be missing a rubber cap. Good thing we've got the Stealth Viper here to borrow caps from. We do that, and we do that. When I've got paint actually on there anyway. Don't need to worry about the excess on that. Right, this is where I'm going to have to lean forward and really get under the light. There we go. There we go. Never again shall these two pieces come apart because they are a bugger to open. Let's see, 23, that'll be this one. And this one. These are much easier to take apart. Yeah, his tail just kind of pegs together like that. So let's clean these up, as always. Also, if you guys know anyone else who'd be interested in these sorts of things, please feel free to let them know, because it'd be cool to have more people in here and just share this with more people. I don't know. Share a bit of your joy with your friends, and they can share a bit of mine. And hey, even if they're not into it, they give it a go. The only way I'm getting closer than that to saying like and subscribe is if I make a joke about what does a werewolf vlogger say. like and subscribe. I'll let you think on that one for a bit. You may groan or facepaw at your leisure. Okay, that paused on my screen for a moment, but it's okay, it's still going. Good. I find it kind of interesting how many furries have been into Zoids or other model kits at some point, and then most have just kind of left that behind. I might try to do this in future. I might try to do this an hour earlier, because time zones are going to shift in America again, and it's going to be an hour later again, because daylight savings is dumb. So we put that in. There we go, we have something resembling a tail. Now we have one more bit. That must go on that way around. So that's going to go on like that, and that's going to go in there, and that's going to plug onto the bottom. And then we'll have a full tail, but we're not there yet. I agree, Ace. I hate daylight savings too, and yes, it is indeed like taking an inch off one end of a ruler and putting it on the other end and saying you now have 13. But now instead of starting at 0, the ruler starts at 1. There's the trick. So you technically have more inches after the midpoint in terms of numbers. You have more inches after the 6, but there's still the same number overall. I have heard some fantastic, mind-boggling arguments, though, against daylight savings that make my brain and my sides hurt. In my old home state of Queensland, someone called into the radio while I was listening and said that they did not want daylight savings because it would confuse the cows. Now, I'm quite sure cows are just as capable of operating on daylight savings as we are and adjusting their watches, but it would confuse the cows. That has to be insulting to all cows out there. But the other argument I heard from, I think, Alabama. Sorry to anyone who's listening from Alabama or watching from Alabama, now or in the future. But when someone says, you know, the government's already got their hands on enough things in my daily life. I don't need them interfering with the weather. The government shouldn't be controlling the weather or changing the weather. That's just... if you're in Alabama or whichever state it was in, for your sake, please stop being in the state that was said from. The government shouldn't be controlling the weather. Thank you. I'm not sure which part of the South that accent was. I think it was just like generic South. Now, if I wanted to, I could probably pull off something vaguely resembling an Arkansas accent, but I haven't heard one of those in quite a while now, so I'm not sure how well I'm pulling that one off, but I can hope. He says going into the wrong O vowel sound. But yes, I like accents. Accents are fun. And my country's accent seems to be one of the hardest for people to do well. Because Australian isn't just about the accent and how you say words, it's about the cadence and how you say your sentences. So, you can't just make the right sounds. Yeah. Y'all is way too overused in most southern accents, and a lot of people think that just going full Texas equals southern accent, which that ain't true. Tennessee is a very different accent to Texas. It's a lot slower than Texas accent, and it's more drawn out as a drawl. And people over exaggerate Texas into Tennessee, but they also don't nasalize it. Yes, y'all and all y'all. And much like Australia has yous guys instead of just you guys, it's like all yous guys. You've got y'alls. So, Matthew McConaughey and Tommy Lee Jones for Texas accents is a recommendation here. From Ace. I know you are in Texas. Are you a native Texan? Because I don't actually know that. Because I know that once you have been a Texan, you can take a Texan out of Texas, but you can never take the Texas out of a Texan. I have seen that. A very good friend of mine was born in Texas, but she has lived out of Texas for a long time. But she still thinks a bit like a native Texan. It ain't going away. I don't know what Joe Pesci sounds like, but when I think Goodfellas, I immediately think a shitty New York accent, which, to be honest with you, I can't do. Not convincingly. So you've been to both Wisconsin and Florida then, Tex? And would you... Oh, you like cool weather. Yeah, you'd die in Texas, you'll die in Australia if you like cool weather. But two kinds of people in this world. People from Texas and people who wish they were. Oh please, Australia's pretty cool. You should come visit. We have a lot of dangerous animals. But there's one animal over here that only hurts and is less dangerous than even in America. Turns out there are no deadly scorpions in Australia. Ha! Texas is Australia light. Yes, it is. That is more correct than you probably realize. Shave that down. Let's get this one as well while we're at it. So I'm 50-50 on whether I'm going to do one of these guys next time, or if I'm going to break out something like the Pteramander. Florida is American Australia. No, Florida is American Queensland. Queensland is... Coastal Queensland is... No. North coastal Queensland is Florida. Coastal Queensland is a bit more like maybe Louisiana. And central Queensland is very much Texas. Every venomous snake native to the Americas, all the poisonous ciders, lots of dangerous spiders, not ciders. All the poisonous ciders. Don't drink poisonous cider. Drink delicious cider. Alcoholic cider if you're of age. But yes, Australia has a reputation for having a lot of poisonous animals and venomous animals and all that fun stuff. Which we do, granted. But we also know how to deal with them. It's like, you don't tread softly in long grass, you stomp in long grass. You don't just put shoes on that have been outside or pick up plastic things that have been outside. You check around the rim of your pot plants and around your in your shoes. You bash your shoes on the wall. You check any plastic toys that have been out, make sure they're not full of spiders. You check your bike helmet before you put it on because there might be a scorpion in it, which happened to me in primary school. I hear Texas does pretty good cider though. Have I heard right? Australia's got Austin East ciders. I'll have to try that. I know Australia has some pretty kick-ass cider. We've got surprisingly good weather conditions for making cider and mead. Not so much certain types of beer, but cider and mead, yes. Also, no matter what any Ponzi wino snob tells you, Australia does good wine. we have a lot of different climates for wine. We do very good wine. I will not hear any different from a wine snob who's grown up on mostly Napa Valley and German wine. Not anyone in particular. Selling 12 packs of cans. I'm going to have to see if I can find that, because I know it'd cost an arm and a leg to import. Yes. How's the wine going, by the way, Tex? It's, has it settled a bit more? You'll have to make some for when I'm next in the country as well, because I would really like to try that. It looks like a really nice rosé. St. Glenviews, I'll have to have a look at that. Totally fair. A few days before bottling is good, as long as the fermentation has now stopped. I would actually, if you're going to bottle it if you're going to bottle it via a siphon, I would look at Michael Stevens' channel on YouTube, not Vsauce, because he uses this one for slightly more practical things than Vsauce. But Ding, that is D exclamation mark NG. This is the same Michael from Vsauce, and he has a self-starting siphon that he shows how to make. So what I would totally suggest, so you don't get any contamination in the wine while you're bottling it from a siphon, self-starting siphon, then you've got it basically good to go. You can just move it higher than the top of the liquid. No, than the bottom of the liquid. No. Just move it until it stops, and then continue the siphon so that it only pours into the bottles. It's a really cool thing. Physics is so weird and I love it. Yes, Texas doesn't have Florida Man. And I've got to say, that's a point in favor of Texas. You could make an entire news show just about Florida Man, and frankly, it would be damn funny. The Florida Show, starring this Florida man, and this Florida man, and Florida woman who tried to kill Florida man. We are almost done here, and this has almost taken 2 hours. So we're definitely stopping after we finish up this fella. So if you put in just a little bit beyond cracking these out of the frames and throwing them together, because I'm really not doing much here. It doesn't take much to make them last so much longer. What could have been a 20-minute build has now been 120 minutes. And you know what? I'm really happy with that. Oh god, there is an Only in Florida segment on this one station. That is awesome. Making fun of not quite your next door neighbor state. couple of states over, but close enough to be worried about Florida Man. Wait, no, right. I'm seeing the wrong name color, so only in Florida. So making fun of your own state, good. You gotta be able to make fun of your own state. I've never heard a Tasmanian who couldn't make fun of Tasmania. I've never known anyone not from Tasmania who couldn't make fun of Tasmania, though, to be fair. And there we go. Now, as I've said, unfortunately we cannot make this guy walk. Not until I figure out how to fix the motors. But here we go. We have a Barigator with his missiles. It can go like that if it wants to free rotate. I think I like that position better. What I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can swap these and see if they free rotate a bit more readily. Because, yeah, I like that. Now let's simulate how he would have moved while walking. His head would have done that. His guns would have smacked into his head. And his tail would swish and swish. Yeah, we have done it. His head is very, very wobbly. Does that. You snap. You protect. He attack. He snack. This guy took 2 hours. This guy only took 3. Bit of a difference. 2 hours. 3 hours. In a way, this was kind of better value for money, but I way prefer the Liger Zero here. Not quite as much detailing on the big one, but I also did the big one without instructions, and there are more, the parts are all bigger for the most part. Yes, the Barigator is awesome. You can find these around on eBay and on Mandarake. If you're going to buy anything from Mandarake, buy it as soon as you can, because Japan's lockdown is getting more and more intense. But yeah, I think that just about does it for today. So, thank you all of you for joining me and just hanging out for a while, reliving something really cool and watching this come together. I will see all of you, as far as I can tell, yes, all of you, in various chat programs. So, have a wonderful Easter. I will be back in probably 2 weeks to build the Stealth Viper and the Psychotus. We'll finish up with the Psychotus because, again, we can see it walk. But, yeah. Glad I could. So I will see you next time. That is bye for now, not forever, when I find the end button. Actually, before I do, let's pull this down and just get him from the side under the light. There we go.